My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Every single week, we break down full UFC fight cards. We give you our picks, our bets, and our fantasy plays. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our content. And our videos are brought to you by BETU Play to Earn. BETU Play to Earn is the world's first play-to-earn sports and esports betting game. Check it out now at betuearn.com. That's bet, the letter U, earn.com. And OddsJam. OddsJam.com has the fastest real-time data between all of the sports books, which helps you spot discrepancies and place risk-free bets. Check them out now at oddsjam.com. Every single fight, all of the odds from all of your favorite sports books. And that takes us to a couple of grapplers. We have Mike Grundy taking on Makwan Amirkhani. Mike Grundy is 12-3 overall. He is 3-2 in his last 5, and he's making his return after almost a year layoff. Makwan Amirkhani is 16-7 overall. He is only 1-4 in his last 5, riding a very unfortunate 3-fight losing skid. Mike Grundy's a big-time chain wrestler. He just comes forward. He looks for takedowns at all costs. His striking only exists to set up takedowns, and that was never more obvious than in his loss to Evloev. He took Evloev down 6 times, but he was still outstruck 79-20. Similar story when he took down Landa Venata 3 times, but was outstruck 80-32. So he taking these people down on top, controlling them, doing work, and still getting hit 3-4 times more than he's hitting them. He is very busy, he is very powerful, and he is relentless with his wrestling. Makwan Amirkhani is better than his UFC run, or at least his recent UFC run. He's a good grappler that averages more than 4 takedowns per fight himself. He was just KO'd by Lerone Murphy, but he was dominating that fight up until the KO. He's typically a durable guy with decent striking and okay cardio. He's definitely closer to a first-round fighter than a 3-round fighter, but he can push a pace when he needs to. You could argue in this matchup that he actually should be the favorite because of how well-rounded he is, but it looks like the odds makers just don't trust his recent record. By plus 140, they just saw the 1-4 in his last 5 and leaned it that way. And I do think this fight comes down to discipline. I think whoever is disciplined enough to just straight up wrestle, not engage with the striking, will win, because Mike Grundy is not a very good striker. So if he looks to strike, he's going to lose a striking match. If Amirkhani, who is the better striker, looks to strike with Grundy, Grundy's just going to drop and shoot. And he's going to get even more takedowns there because Amirkhani is striking and leaving openings. So again, I think literally whoever is disciplined enough to just immediately start shooting is going to win this fight. Whoever's first to the legs is going to win this fight. And I think that's got to be Mike Grundy. I mean, you watch Mike Grundy fights. He has no desire to do anything other than grapple. Nothing. He wants nothing to do with the striking. He's just looking to grapple. So I trust him and his discipline to just be diving at legs, shooting a million takedowns. I think Makwan Amirkhani is a very capable grappler, very capable wrestler, very capable striker, but just non-stop wrestling from Mike Grundy, I think, will be enough to get it done. And this is kind of a crazy comparison, right? But this is like a Arkansas wrestling, Bryce versus Barboza, because Barboza was the better, more well-rounded fighter, but that non-stop wrestling was enough.
Stop.
Break down this fight, please.
Don't you ever, and this is 100%, don't you ever mention Arkansas wrestling. Don't you put people inside of Arkansas. That is the most disrespectful shit I've ever heard. Trying to put Mike Grundy into Arkansas wrestling. I think he loses this matchup. If this was a straight wrestling match, this is another one of those examples. If this was a straight wrestling match, Mike Grundy's credentials can go up against probably almost anyone's in the UFC, right? He's like just a crazy national world champion wrestler. So if this was a straight wrestling match, and it's probably going to end up being a grappling match, but if this is a straight wrestling match, he should dominate. And since this is going to be a wrestling match, mostly a grappling match with his credentials, he honestly should be probably a minus 300 favorite against a 16-7 Amirkhani. But the odds are a little bit closer than what people than what it should be, because Amirkhani is so talented. You see a 16-7 record. Amirkhani, I mean, that's the best 16-7 fighter you will ever see in your life. His losses are to Arnold Allen, who we'll see later, a split decision to Arnold Allen. Shane Burgos, Edson Barbosa, Quamela Kirk, Lerone Murphy. He was dominating that fight. I picked him in his last fight. He was doing exactly what he was supposed to do, dominating that first round, and then just ran face first into a knee, which wasn't his best decision he's ever made. So he ended up getting knocked out, but he was well on his way to dominate the grappling in this matchup. And when it comes to the grappling, again, I see him kind of in that same situation at last fight, that he's a better MMA grappler. Right? He's just a little bit slicker in those scrambles, in those transitions. He's a little bit more fluid, where Mike Grundy is just the wrestler, the chain. He does have very good chain wrestling. Boom, boom, boom. But Amirkhani has weird, different scrambles that is more tailored to MMA rather than just strictly wrestling. So, if you're on the Mike Grundy side, I get it. He is the better wrestler. And if this is just wrestling, he should pretty much, he should dominate the matchup. But this is MMA, and there are factors. And people have mentioned in the chat, Grundy can get a little chinny. I'm going Amirkhani in this matchup. I don't think it's too much of a flyer. I just think he's a little bit slicker in the grappling, and if he can keep this on the feet, he's got the advantage. So I'm going Amirkhani. I don't feel great about it, but I like him in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue. Because frankly, I
wouldn't. That's probably a good idea.
Because frankly, I said Amirkhani's the more talented fighter, but Mike Grundy is just so good at one thing, and he's relentless with that one thing. And I think that's going to be the difference here. I think he's just going to shoot, takedown. And, Mike Grundy can be chinny, but so can Amirkhani. So, he is typically a durable guy, but he's got a couple of KO losses in that 7 there. So I like Mike Grundy to get it done. You like Amirkhani to get it done. I think we both think it's a closer fight. And frankly, like I said, I think whoever starts wrestling first wins. Because if Amirkhani starts throwing a jab out there, Mike Grundy's boom, shooting, done. Like, you can be positive that Mike Grundy's going to start shooting no matter what. You can be positive on that. There's no debating. So either Amirkhani is able to defend those shots and keep it on his feet, or initiates his own takedowns before Mike Grundy can get his wheels going. And that's why I just think Mike Grundy will get to the legs first, but I'm not going to argue with anybody that says Amirkhani will win, because he's obviously very talented, very good everywhere, including accomplished wrestler, grappler, very good striker. So, do you like him enough to put him in your DraftKings lineup at $7,700?
Again, this is one of those guys. So we have him at $7,700. We have Paul Craig at $7,500, and then we have Jack Short $7,600. And I like them all to win. So it's going to be a game time decision. I can really only pick one, maybe two, if I set my lineup right. But it's going to be definitely one of those three. It might be Amirkhani. But if the people that could get dominated, obviously they're all against wrestlers. They're all kind of grapplers against wrestlers. And honestly, a lot of times I'm wrong in that. When I love to pick the jiu-jitsu guys against the wrestlers, because I just feel like they're a little bit more dangerous. But honestly, they get controlled a lot in those matchups. So I'm on like three kind of more MMA guys as opposed to wrestlers. But Amirkhani is probably the one that could get dominated more than the other two. So he probably isn't the better value as far as if you're choosing between Paul Craig and Jack Shore as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And Mike Grundy at $8,500 is either the best money you ever spent or the worst, because, I rattled off the numbers. He got 6 takedowns against Evloev. Evloev is a freaking nasty wrestler, and he took him down 6 times. He took down Lando Venata 3 times. So, $8,500, he's probably going to end up being worth the money, because there's going to be a whole bunch of takedowns, whole bunch of control time. And you guys know DraftKings loves takedowns and control time. So I like Mike Grundy. I'll probably spend the $8,500 in DraftKings as well. And Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line, I'm not going to touch it. Mike Grundy is going to decisions throwing less than 40 punches. So I'm not going to touch this Monkey Knife Fight Strike Line, because it may be a less more situation. And I can't say less under 39 when I think it's going to go to a decision. That just hurts my brain. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like that strike line at all. This could end up being, there's a lot of good fights on the card. This could end up being wild scrambles fight of the night, where both guys are just completely gassed, just doing weird stuff, and then finally somebody finds a submission. So I don't like that Monkey Knife Fight. Anything could happen in this fight.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty. I don't think anything can happen, but I hear what you're saying there.
But
and this
literally
is another
anything
one.
can happen. That's kind of how the world works.
I don't think so. But I do think this is another odds jam type fight. I'm going to keep an eye on odds jam here because I like Mike Grundy enough. I don't like him enough to spend minus 160, but what odds jam does is they have APIs into all the sports books. They're constantly pulling out their odds. And as soon as odds move in the direction that they think it should, right? They're saying Mike Grundy should be a minus whatever. And as soon as it gets better than that, you get alerted. They tell you, it glows on the stream. So you know what book to go to and where to place that bet. So this is one that I will be watching on oddsjam.com because if Mike Grundy gets better than minus 150, I will probably jump on that. I do trust him to get this done. Amirkhani, if you're on that side, same exact logic. Keep an eye on it. If you get him at plus 150, 60, 70, that's fantastic money. And who knows what the odds are going to do in the next coming days. Yeah. If you want free $50, go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. Let us know after you do. And we send you $50 as a thank you for supporting us and our partners.